Don't tell anyone, but 3 bay leaves can change your financial life. And no, it's not superstition. What you're about to hear was hidden for centuries. And for some reason, it's working better today than ever, especially for women like you over 50. It's not magic. It's ancient science used by emperors, healers, and spiritual masters. And the strangest thing, it still works today when done the right way. I know you might be tired of promises, feeling that familiar anxiety every time you look at your bank statement, but take a breath. You are not broken, you are not invisible, and it is definitely not too late. Today, I'm going to show you how to turn 3 bay leaves into a powerful ritual for prosperity, protection, and abundance. A secret so ancient, it was once used by kings to attract fortune. But before we continue, I need your energy with me. Like this video now, subscribe to the channel and comment. I am ready for abundance. This simple gesture is like lighting the first spark of your transformation. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right, but money just doesn't flow? As if no matter how hard you try, the universe answers you with obstacles, unexpected bills, and a constant sense of lack. If this sounds familiar, know this. What you're feeling is more common than you think. And it's not your fault. Many women over the age of 50 carry a life story marked by sacrifice, hard work, and tireless dedication to their families. But when they look at their own lives, they realize that something essential was left behind. The sense of deserving, the belief that they also have a right to financial peace, comfort, and lightness. And that's where the frustration is born. You've given so much of yourself, so why does it feel so hard to receive in return? That feeling of powerlessness, of always running and never arriving, is not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, it reveals a quiet strength that endures even when everything seems to fall apart. But here's a necessary reminder. You are not alone, and more importantly, you are not broken. What's often missing is not effort, but direction, not willpower, but internal permission to receive. The ritual of the 3 bay leaves, which I'll show you, is not a magic trick. It's a tool to reconnect you with that permission, a symbolic and energetic way to say, I accept abundance because I deserve it. And from that point on, everything starts to shift. Bay leaf is not just an aromatic plant used in cooking. Since ancient times, it has carried deep symbolism tied to power, victory, and spiritual protection. In ancient Greece, bay leaves were used to crown heroes, philosophers, and Olympic champions, not as mere decoration, but as recognition of their connection to higher forces, a way of saying they were in harmony with the universe's abundance and wisdom. In Rome, emperors wore laurel crowns as symbols of divine authority. It was as if these leaves represented not only material power, but also a spiritual protection that guided their most important decisions. And in Eastern and Latin traditions, bay leaves have long been associated with energy cleansing, warding off negativity, and opening paths. But why 3 leaves? The number 3 has been considered sacred since time immemorial. It represents balance, motion, and fulfillment. It's the energetic triad: body, mind, and spirit, past, present, and future, birth, life, and rebirth. When you use exactly 3 bay leaves with a clear intention, you activate this powerful symbolic code, accessing not just a ritual, but a true frequency of transformation. This isn't a recently invented custom. It's a fragment of ancient wisdom that crossed continents and cultures because it works. And when something survives that long, it's because it carries a deep truth, even if invisible to those who rush or doubt. Now that you understand the historical and spiritual weight behind these 3 leaves, you're ready for something greater, aligning your energy with the right intention. Because it's not enough to repeat a ritual. You must be fully present in it. Now that you know the ancestral power behind the 3 bay leaves, it's time to speak honestly. This ritual is not a trick, not a quick fix, and it should not be done like checking off an item on a list. It requires presence, true intention, and an energetic commitment to your own transformation. This means that when performing it, you must be fully there, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It's not about repeating words like an empty mantra. It's about feeling each gesture, each thought, as a bridge between the life you live today and the life of abundance you wish to build. This kind of practice works like a mirror. If you approach it with haste, fatigue, or disbelief, it reflects confusion. But if you come to it with respect, focus, and an open heart, it activates something that may have been dormant in you for a long time: your ability to create your own reality. It's essential to understand this isn't magic, it's consciousness. The bay leaf, when used correctly, is a catalyst, not the solution itself. It helps reorganize your inner energy, clearing away invisible blocks that hinder the flow of money and prosperity. That's why preparation is important. Before performing the ritual, choose a moment of silence. Turn off your phone, take a deep breath, quiet your mind. Believe me, this small gesture of pausing and listening to yourself is, in itself, one of the greatest demonstrations of self-respect. And if even now, some part of you is still resisting, saying, "This won't work for me," remember, that doubt is exactly what you need to begin transforming. Now, with your mind aligned and your heart prepared, we can move on to the start of the practice. But before that, reaffirm your presence here. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment again. I deserve to thrive. This is more than a digital gesture. It's an energetic signature. True scarcity doesn't start in your wallet. It starts in your mind. Throughout life, many women have unknowingly learned to relate to money through guilt, fear, and self-denial. How many times have you heard phrases like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," "Wealthy people aren't happy," or "Talking about money is rude"? These subtle ideas, repeated over the years, become limiting beliefs and stay buried, influencing your decisions without you even realizing it. These beliefs create deep blocks. Even when you work hard, dedicate yourself, and do everything right, money slips away. And not because you're incapable, but because your mind was trained to reject what you want most. It's like trying to fill a cup with an invisible hole at the bottom. No matter how hard you try, something always leaks out. This is where what we call energetic reprogramming comes in. It begins when you identify these patterns and consciously choose to replace them. The ritual with the 3 bay leaves is more than an external practice. It's a symbolic gesture of breaking away. By doing it with intention, you are telling your unconscious, from now on, I open myself to the new. I release these old stories. This reprogramming doesn't happen overnight. It requires repetition, clarity, and above all, presence. Each time you repeat a positive affirmation like, my money grows with ease, you're not just saying something nice. You're planting a seed in your mind. And like every seed, it needs to be nurtured daily. Prosperity begins when you understand that you deserve more. And the first step is to let go of the idea that there's something wrong with you. There isn't. What exists are old voices, distorted teachings, and inherited fears. And all of that can be rewritten. Next, you'll learn how the 3 bay leaves come into play in a practical way, and why the place you put them is just as important as the intention you carry. Now, it's time. With your mind quiet and your heart in a receptive state, you're ready to begin one of the oldest and most respected rituals among spiritual traditions that understand money's energy not just as material value, but as an extension of what you believe you deserve. And that's exactly why it works. Not because of magic, but because it activates something in you that's been silent for a long time. The power to manifest what you want with clear intention, emotional focus, and spiritual alignment. Take 3 dried bay leaves, and here comes the first crucial point. They must be whole, without cracks, without stains. When you touch them, don't think about just anything. Think about you, the woman you are, what you've lived, what you've overcome. Think about the silent strength that brought you here. That strength now needs a channel. And these 3 leaves will act as anchors for that energy. But don't rush. The ritual begins even before you place a leaf anywhere. It begins when you decide to pause, breathe, and feel. Smell the bay leaf, feel its texture, close your eyes for a few seconds, and ask yourself, in silence, am I ready to receive? Am I willing to allow? This simple question activates a part of the brain called the prefrontal cortex, responsible for conscious decision-making. By bringing it to the surface, you shift your brain frequency from a scattered state to a deep state of presence. The first leaf should be placed inside your wallet, but not tossed in. It should be carefully folded and placed near where you keep your money. What you're doing here isn't just symbolic. It's neurological. Every time you open your wallet, your brain will associate that object with your new intention. In psychology, this is called anchoring. It's like installing an invisible reminder that says, money comes, and it is welcome here. Now let's move on to the second leaf. It goes under your pillow. And here we enter a deeper layer of your psyche. During sleep, your brain cycles into slower wave states, especially the so-called theta and delta waves, the same ones accessed during deep meditative states. That's when your most rigid beliefs become vulnerable to change. By placing the leaf there, you're planting an energetic code into your unconscious, a kind of silent seed that works while you sleep, dissolving old blocks, releasing fears, healing scarcity memories, But the most important is still to come. The third leaf, the most powerful of all, and that's why you won't use it yet. Because it requires something you might not be ready to access until you fully understand what it represents. Curious? That's exactly what your brain needs to feel right now. That gentle tension, that desire for closure, activates the dopaminergic system, the one responsible for motivation and reward. When we create an intentional pause in the flow of information, your attention stays active, your focus sharpens, and your retention increases. This technique is known as the Zeigarnik effect. Our minds dislike unfinished tasks. But more than technique, what I want here is respect. Respect for your time, your intention, and your legitimate desire for change. The third leaf won't be placed just anywhere. It requires you to understand something fundamental about your story and your relationship with money. And that understanding will come shortly, with greater clarity, once you've internalized the first steps. For now, keep those 2 leaves where they are. Pay attention to how you feel over the next 24 hours. Notice the signs, the emotions, the recurring thoughts, because all of that is already part of the process. Nothing will be the same anymore. And if you've made it this far, say in the comments, "I am awakening." This phrase, when written with intention, activates an internal commitment, and at the same time, it shows the universe and yourself that this isn't just another video. It's a turning point. In the next step, I'll reveal where to place the third leaf. But before that, you'll hear real stories of transformation from women just like you who one day chose to trust. By now, you're probably already feeling that something has shifted. Even if you can't put it into words yet, there's a different energy in the air. And that happens because when you start connecting with the right intention, everything around you responds. But maybe what's still missing to take the next step with more confidence is this: hearing from other women like you. Women who once also doubted, hesitated, but decided to try. And by doing so, they awakened something that had long been asleep. The first story is from Yvonne, 68, a widow, retired, and mother of 3. She had always cared for everyone else, but deep down felt no one ever truly cared for her. When she watched this same ritual for the first time, she was silent, drinking coffee alone. "I did it without really believing," she told me, but something inside her nudged her to keep going. She placed the first bay leaf gently in her wallet, the second under her pillow, and the third, well, she waited. The next day she went to the market as usual, but when she returned home, she found an envelope at her gate. It was an old payment from someone she knew, with a note that said, "It took me a while, but I never forgot what you did for me." That, according to her, wasn't just money. It was proof that energy gives back. Another story comes from Sylvia, 55, a craftswoman. She had always worked with her hands, but never managed to value her own talent. She felt ashamed to charge for her work, believing that doing it for love didn't mix with money. She started the ritual with skepticism, but decided to go all the way. She placed the leaves and repeated daily, "My money grows with ease." And more than money, something shifted inside her. She began standing her ground more, accepting that she deserved to be well paid for what she did. Today, she sells her products online, and in her words, "I never imagined so many people would value my work." She adds, "The bay leaf didn't give me money. It gave me courage." These stories are not exceptions. They are examples of what happens when you allow yourself to step out of the emotional inertia that scarcity creates. When you decide to break the cycle of self-sabotage, inherited beliefs, and learned scarcity. It's like opening a window that had been locked for decades, and it's not about luck. It's about decision. In psychology, we call this an internal congruence response. When your conscious mind that decides aligns with your unconscious mind that executes, actions flow and results become inevitable. The bay leaf ritual activates that congruence, and the stories you just heard are proof of that. And maybe the most important story is still being written. Yours. Because if you've made it this far, it means something inside you has already started to shift. You felt that there's another possible path, one that doesn't rely on inhuman effort, but on reconnection, on permission. And that's why, in the next step, we'll reveal the most powerful place to put the third bay leaf. But before moving on, comment here. I am also part of this transformation. This isn't just a phrase, it's a symbolic gesture of commitment to yourself, to your energy, and to what's coming. We've arrived at one of the most important parts of this process, because before revealing where to place the third bay leaf, you need to understand why all of this works. Not just spiritually, but psychologically and energetically. What you're doing here goes far beyond a ritual. It's an internal reconfiguration, a symbolic activation that speaks directly to your unconscious, the part of your mind that actually governs 95% of your decisions, emotions, and behaviors. Let's start with the symbol. The bay leaf, as we've seen, is an archetype, and archetypes are universal images that touch deep layers of the human psyche. Since ancient times, the bay leaf has symbolized victory, expansion, and protection. But that's not all. When you hold a bay leaf with intention, you're activating a mental network of positive associations, something neuroscience calls directed neuroplasticity. In other words, you are creating new neural pathways around an ancestral symbol of power. This changes how you think, feel, and act in relation to money. And why 3 leaves? Because the number 3 holds powerful archetypal force. In nearly every culture and spiritual tradition, it appears as a representation of balance and manifestation. Father, mother, and child, past, present, and future, body, mind, and spirit. In psychology, 3 also represents the complete cycle of transformation, awareness, integration, and action. With these leaves, you're not just following a ritual. You're activating a symbolic structure that brings harmony and wholeness into motion. Now, about vibration. Everything in the universe vibrates. You, money, bay leaves, everything emits a frequency, and what you feel internally affects that vibration. That's why intention is essential. Intention acts like an energetic command. If you place a bay leaf somewhere in your home while holding thoughts of scarcity, you'll only reinforce that frequency. But if you perform the same gesture with clarity, focus, and a desire for transformation, something shifts. You change your vibrational frequency and start sending out different signals to the world around you. This process is invisible, but real, and it works because it activates what psychology calls the emotional coherence effect. When your emotion aligns with your intention, your brain and heart synchronize, literally. Studies show that when this happens, your electromagnetic field expands, and you become more receptive to opportunities, synchronicities, and external responses. In other words, you attract what you're vibrating. That's why the ritual works for those who are fully present in it. Wanting money is not enough. You have to release the guilt of desiring it. You have to let go of the idea that prosperity is wrong or that financial happiness is a privilege reserved for a few. This kind of internal cleansing is what prepares the ground for the third leaf. Because the third bay leaf won't be placed in a random spot. It will be planted in a space that represents your identity, your story, your strength, and for that to make sense, you need to be vibrating at the right frequency, and now you are. Before revealing where to place it, write in the comments, "My energy is aligned." This is a silent commitment that activates both your mind and your energetic field. Don't underestimate this act. In the next step, you'll receive the exact instructions for the third placement. And when that happens, you'll understand why it's by far the most transformative. So far, you've done something that few people manage to do. You stayed present. And that alone is already a sign that transformation is in motion. You didn't just listen, you felt. With every word, every story, you've been activating something that may have been asleep for years. Your right to thrive. And that's why now is the perfect time to reinforce a silent but powerful commitment. If you haven't yet liked this video, subscribed to the channel, or left a comment, don't see it as a simple mechanical action. See it as a symbol. Because in this moment, everything you do with intention has a much greater impact. When you click like, you're not just helping the channel. You're sending out a vibrational signal of acceptance. You're saying energetically, yes, I open myself to receive. This type of symbolic action is what psychologists call behavioral anchoring. When you associate a simple physical act, like clicking, writing, or sharing, with an internal decision, you reinforce that choice in your brain. You create a bridge between wanting and acting. And the more you act in alignment with your intention, the more real it becomes. So now, if you already feel that something is changing inside of you, comment here, "I am committing to my prosperity." Write with presence, not just as someone typing, but as someone declaring, as someone affirming to the universe, "I'm ready." Because when you write, you materialize. You bring what's in the mental plane into the physical one. And if for some reason you're still hesitating, pause and breathe for a moment. That's part of the process too. Hesitation is just the echo of old internal voices, the ones that told you for years that you couldn't, that you shouldn't, that you weren't enough. But now you have the chance to respond to those voices, to say through simple gestures, "It ends here. I choose differently." Reaffirming your commitment at this point is also essential for keeping your energy in expansion. You're about to receive the most powerful instruction of the ritual, the special location for the third leaf. And if you want it to work as it should, your vibration needs to be in full coherence with your intention. This second call to action isn't just about engagement. It's about anchoring, grounding, and solidifying the shift. Remember, all lasting transformation begins with a simple act repeated with awareness. So once again, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment, "I am committing to my prosperity." This will be your vibrational seal, and it will be the signal you send out to the universe to say, "I am here, present, and ready." In the next step, the revelation that completes the cycle, where to place the third leaf, and why that place holds the power to change everything. Now, the most awaited moment has arrived, the revelation of the third and most powerful location to place your bay leaf. But before we say where, it's important to understand why. Because every space in your home, just like every corner of your mind, carries an energy. And that energy is not neutral. It directly influences your emotional state, your decisions, and even the financial flow that does or doesn't enter your life. You've already placed the first leaf in your wallet, where money lives physically. You've positioned the second under your pillow, where money lives energetically in your subconscious. Now, the third must go in a place that represents your action in the world, the place where you manifest, where you build, where you turn desire into reality. That place is the entrance to your home. Think for a moment, how many times do you walk through that door without even noticing? It is the transition point between your inner space and the outside world. It's where opportunities, connections, and resources enter, and also often where blockages do too. When you place a bay leaf behind your front door, preferably on the inside, on the door frame, or between the frame and the wall, you are creating an energetic filter. You are saying symbolically, from this point on, only what strengthens me may enter. Only what brings prosperity, safety, and balance is allowed in. But don't do it in a rush. When placing this leaf, be alone. Breathe. Say out loud or in your mind, "I allow my home to receive only what nourishes my prosperity. I am the guardian of my energy." These words work as a mental command. And in psychology, commands repeated with strong intention shape the belief system. It's like reprogramming the operating system of your being. Here's a powerful tip. If you want to enhance the effect even more, write your full name on the leaf using a pen or fine marker. This transforms the symbol into something personal, unique, encoded with your vibration. You are saying, "This prosperity has a name, and that name is mine." Now, an important recommendation. Replace that leaf every 21 days. That number is not random. In neuroscience, 21 days is the average time needed to create or reinforce a new mental habit. By changing the leaf in this cycle, you're telling your mind, "This intention is still alive. I am still present." And to complete, here are some power phrases you can repeat daily. When you look at your wallet, lie down on your pillow, or walk through your front door, "My money grows with ease and joy. I receive with gratitude everything that strengthens me. My home is a temple of abundance. I allow the entrance of the new, the prosperous, and the light. What is mine finds me with ease. These phrases work as internal affirmations. They are not just pretty words, they are mental reprogramming triggers. The more you repeat them with emotion, the deeper they are recorded in your limbic system, the part of the brain responsible for emotional responses. And that's what transforms intention into reality. You're not just placing bay leaves in strategic spots. You're anchoring a new reality, one where you stand as worthy, as a creator, as the architect of your abundance. Now, your ritual is complete. What comes next is the closing of this journey. And it's no less important. It's where you seal what you've started, with clarity, with awareness, and with power. We've reached the end of a journey that, in truth, is only the beginning. Because what you've learned today goes far beyond a ritual. It goes beyond 3 strategically placed bay leaves. What happened here was a reunion, a silent but deep acknowledgement that you've always had the power to change. You just needed to remember. Throughout your life, maybe you were taught to wait. Wait for the right moment, the right support, the right person, or even permission to want more. And that creates an invisible scar. The belief that wanting to prosper is selfish, or that money only comes through struggle. But the truth is, prosperity is a right. And the greatest act of love you can offer yourself is allowing yourself to live with dignity, lightness, and abundance. Today, you planted 3 seeds, one in the material plane, one in the mental, and one in the spiritual. And they all carry the same message: I am ready. It doesn't matter how many times life taught you to doubt it. What matters is that now you've chosen to remember. And don't think the ritual ends here. The real ritual starts tomorrow, when you wake up and choose to repeat what you feel, to reaffirm what you desire, to respect what you are. Prosperity is built through conscious repetition, daily gestures, the small decisions you make when no one is watching. The leaf in your wallet will remind you that money is not an enemy. It is flow. It is energy. It comes more easily when you welcome it without guilt. The leaf under your pillow will work in silence, dissolving the old beliefs that told you you had to suffer to deserve. And the leaf on the door, oh, that one will protect your home, your energy, and make it clear. Only what feeds your abundance may enter. If this message touched you in any way, comment here. I am the creator of my abundance. That phrase is more than an affirmation. It is a decision. And if you want to go further, share this video with another woman who also deserves to awaken. Because when one woman awakens to her power, she changes her life. But when many awaken together, they change the world around them. You are not alone. You never were. You were just waiting for this moment of reconnection. And now it has arrived. The rest is up to you.